The State Department is urging U.S. citizens in 14 Middle Eastern countries to leave immediately using commercial flights while they are still available. Airlines are canceling routes, airspace is tightening, security warnings are intensifying by the hour. This is not routine guidance. This is emergency level instruction. At the same time, President Donald Trump has formally notified Congress under the War Powers Resolution, explaining his legal justification for military action. The administration says the initial wave of U.S. strikes significantly weakened Iran's radar systems, air defenses, and missile capabilities, but Tehran still retains the ability to launch drones and rockets. And the president has made it clear the operation will continue as long as necessary. He is not ruling out U.S. ground troops. He says the strongest phase of the campaign may still be ahead. This is a moment of enormous consequence. To understand how this unfolded and what officials are confirming tonight, watch this report.
Whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes, we will always, and we have right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that.
What we are learning from defense officials paints a picture of a highly coordinated and fast-moving military operation. According to the Pentagon, the first objective was to blind Iran's military infrastructure. Radar installations were targeted. Air defense systems were hit. Communication networks were disrupted. The strategy, officials say, was to prevent organized retaliation in the opening hours. Once those systems were compromised, U.S. forces moved against ballistic missile facilities, fighter aircraft, and naval assets considered threats to American forces and regional allies. Images released by the administration show the president monitoring the operation from Mar-a-Lago early Saturday morning. Senior advisors were gathered. Live intelligence feeds were streaming in. The stakes were immediate. One of the most significant reported strikes was on the compound of Iran's supreme leader in Tehran. Officials say it occurred at 9:45 a.m. local time. In broad daylight, U.S. intelligence reportedly indicated that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was above ground meeting with senior officials. That intelligence, according to sources, accelerated the timeline of the strike. The president has stated that dozens of senior figures were killed. He has claimed that 49 leaders died in that attack. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the decision was rooted in imminent threat assessment. According to the administration, intelligence suggested that if Israel carried out planned actions against Iran, Tehran would immediately retaliate against U.S. forces and diplomatic facilities. Officials argue this was anticipatory self-defense. Critics are asking difficult questions. What defined the imminent threat? Was Congress meaningfully consulted? Does notifying lawmakers after the fact satisfy constitutional requirements? These questions are already echoing across Washington. Meanwhile, the human cost is becoming painfully clear. The Pentagon confirms that 6 U.S. service members were killed at a tactical operations center in Kuwait. 18 others were wounded. They are recovering. Families have been notified. The impact of this conflict now reaches American homes. Fighting is also intensifying in Lebanon, where Iran-backed Hezbollah forces are launching attacks. That opens another potential front. Israel remains on heightened alert. Regional partners are reinforcing security. Oil markets are fluctuating sharply. Diplomatic lines are active but strained. The broader question now is whether this remains a limited military campaign or evolves into a multi-nation regional war. The president says the United States has the capacity to sustain operations for 4 to 5 weeks, or far longer if necessary. He says whatever it takes, whatever the time is. That language signals preparedness for extended engagement. History shows that once retaliation cycles begin, they are difficult to contain. The Middle East is layered with alliances, proxy forces, historic rivalries, and strategic choke points. Iran's influence stretches through aligned groups across several countries. Saudi Arabia, Israel, Lebanon, Kuwait. Each nation is calculating its next move carefully. Each has its own security interests. Each has its own red lines. An embassy strike is not just symbolic. It forces responses. The administration believes decisive force deters further aggression. That overwhelming capability creates clarity. That clarity prevents drawn-out war. But critics warn that rapid escalation risks pulling additional actors into the conflict. Tonight, evacuation warnings remain in effect. Flights are being canceled. Military assets are repositioning. Congress is preparing for intense debate. Under the War Powers Resolution, the President must seek authorization for sustained engagement beyond 60 days. That timeline matters politically and constitutionally. Allies are watching, adversaries are calculating, global markets are reacting in real time. In moments like this, miscalculation becomes the greatest threat, a misunderstood signal, an overcorrection, an unintended strike. Diplomacy remains active behind the scenes. European leaders are urging restraint. Regional governments are reinforcing borders. Intelligence agencies are monitoring movements closely. For now, the administration projects confidence. The president says American forces are prepared. He says the United States will defend its interests and its people. But the region stands on edge. Tehran is weighing its next response. Allied capitals are coordinating strategy. Families of deployed service members are waiting for updates. This moment is fluid, it is dangerous, it is historic, and its outcome remains uncertain. To hear how officials are explaining the urgency and justification behind these decisions, listen to this.
As more U.S. forces move into the region, U.S. civilians are urged to get out as Iran targets U.S. embassies and airports like the one in Dubai. The Pentagon released new details today of the first 48 hours of the U.S. attack, saying step one was to take out Iran's military defense and radar systems, crippling their ability to see, communicate, or respond. The strikes then hitting Iranian ballistic missile capabilities, including fighter jets and Navy ships. These images show the president monitoring from Mar-a-Lago Saturday morning. The Supreme Leader's compound was hit at 9:45 Tehran time.
This was a daylight strike based on a trigger event conducted by the Israeli Defense Forces, enabled by the U.S. intelligence community.
The administration maintains that the threat was imminent, that the action was necessary, and that strength now prevents greater violence later. Whether that calculation holds will depend on what happens next. Conflicts of this magnitude rarely remain static. They escalate or they are urgently de-escalated through diplomacy. Right now, the world is watching to see which path emerges. Evacuations continue. Troops remain deployed. Alliances are tested. History is moving. And the next decision could define the future of this region and America's role within it.